what's up you guys, this is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the rundown, it's time for a little artificial enhancement when we take a look at my top 3 game-changing arcane enhancements. Now, for those of you who don't know, Arcanes are rewarded after completion of either version of the Trials of Retribution raid, as well as the Jordas Verdict raid. They can be attached to signed donnas and helmets, and their bonuses can be amplified by installing multiple copies. Their effects range from a 40% passive resistance to specific status procs, or more active effects like a 12% chance upon reload to give your secondary weapon a 60% damage boost for 16 seconds. Now, while most effects can feel like nice little added bonuses, there are a select few that can completely boost the effectiveness of a build to near ludicrousness. So don't get me wrong, there are many arcanes that I am a big fan of, but the ones I'll be covering today definitely change the game. Now, we're going to start with what I consider to be one of the weaker ones of the bunch, but still interesting nonetheless. Arcane Avenger, when fully stacked, grants you a 14% chance every time you're damaged to receive a flat 30% crit chance bonus to all of your weapons and Warframe abilities that have the capability to crit. Now, the reason that I consider this one to be game-changing is the fact that it is independent to any current stats, meaning that 30% bonus is 30% no matter what weapon or Warframe ability you're using. Now, with 2 full sets of these, you have the potential to hit 60% bonus critical chance. This is easily enough to push many weapons into the 100% crit chance territory, and a few choice weapons into a fairly consistent red crit territory. For example, with both effects triggered, Valkyr's Hysteria now has a 40% chance to red crit, and frames like Wukong can turn weapons like the Nucor, who, for comedic purposes, has a 4 times crit multiplier, but only a 1% crit chance, into a feasible crit weapon. The important aspect here is making sure to pair this arcane with a frame that can safely take a beating. Think Valkyr running Warcry, Wukong running Defy, and even Mesa with her Shatter Shield. Moving on to the next is one that definitely reads a bit misleading. Now, on the description, Arcane Energize states that when fully stacked, it has a 40% chance upon energy orb pickup to restore energy to nearby allies. What it doesn't tell you is the fact that the 20-meter energy wave that this thing creates also restores a bonus 100 energy to you, meaning that a single energy orb can restore 25 to 50 points of energy and has a 40% chance to restore an additional 100 energy. And when you're wearing 2, you've got another 40% chance to restore another 100 energy, potentially giving you up to 225 to 250 energy per orb. Now, this works fantastically with Warframes using toggle abilities that restrict them from the benefits of Energy Siphon or Xenaric's Energy Regen. Think Excalibur using Exalted Blade, Ember using World of Fire, and my personal favorite, Avari using Prowl. With her ability to pickpocket, she can double her chances in an energy orb dropping, and keep herself completely topped off with the Arcane Energize triggers. In a casual 70-minute survival, I didn't have to use a single energy restore when maintaining Prowl and using her Artemis bow. Not only is this great for specialized builds, but it's also an amazing addition to any build that you can't figure out what to use an enhancement on. Now, last but definitely not least is what I consider to be the linchpin of several of my favorite builds, none other than Arcane Grace itself. So for those of you who don't know, a max Arcane Grace has a 6% chance upon taking damage to restore 4% of your health every second for 6 seconds, totaling 24% of your max health. Now clearly, slipping in 2 is always better than just 1, as you can potentially restore 48% of your health. Now personally, the reason that I think this is so awesome is the fact that it works so well with tanky frames like Inaros, Chroma, and of course, our super secret tank Mesa. By their own nature, they're taking hits almost all of the time, meaning that Arcane Grace is almost always triggered. Inaros' large health pool means that Arcane Grace will be out healing a lot of the damage he's taking, while both Chroma and Mesa can mitigate so much damage that the little damage they do take will rapidly be replenished by a trigger of Arcane Grace. Now of course, this works well on many other frames, like Wukong, Valkyr, Saren Prime, and Excalibur Prime. But when equipped specifically on our tanky titans, they become near indestructible. Now, I do have 2 other honorable mentions. Arcane Guardian, which when fully stacked, upon taking damage has a 20% chance to trigger a 60% armor buff. This works extremely well in tandem with Arcane Grace, but is specifically limited to Warframes with high armor value, and doesn't completely negate the need for Arcane Grace or some other form of health regeneration like Lifestrike. The next honorable mention is Arcane Trickery, which grants a 10% chance to trigger a 20-second invisibility whenever you execute a stealth finisher. Now, clearly, this works amazingly well with Ashe using a Bladestorm build, allowing a double stack of Arcane Trickery to pretty much keep him invisible all the time and still run Xenaric's Energy Regen. Hey, just because I don't like him doesn't mean I don't know how to work him. No, to a lesser extent, a double stack does work well with Equinox using a sleep build, but honestly that setup is a little bit niche. So that about does it for the arcane enhancements that I find to be absolute game changers. And while farming for arcanes can be quite time consuming and the market prices can fluctuate to ridiculous amounts, these are definitely the arcanes that I feel are worth your investment. Now if you guys have any other suggestions for me to research, definitely feel free to leave them in the comments below, because I am always up for a little experimentation, especially when it comes to things I can insert into my build. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Rundown. If you haven't caught it, check out my snapshots on Mesa's Arcane Showdown build and Inaros' Arcane Armor build. Now don't forget to do all the things that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay tuned to see what else I managed to enhance here at A Gay Guy Plays.